I want to thank President David Perez and especially the founder of the GPLT Street Project, Jose Gutierrez. What you've done is very, very important in our city and in our community. When you organize this first history exhibit, isn't it interesting that it's a history exhibit? You know, tell people what their roots are, where they come from, who they really are, so that they can connect our LGBT community to their own history. I want to offer my apologies for not being able to stay for the entire panel. I've just come from another event. I'm due to another event, and I certainly didn't want to bypass this very important event. I was here last year, and all I can say is how you're growing. I see that more and more the LGBT community in the city and region is, yes, coming out. That's not anything that I would encourage anybody to do. That's a personal decision. But I do have to tell you how we got to the point where marriage equality, how did we get there first? You know, you get there, frankly, because they had to put their eyes on real human beings. As long as we're a bunch of initials, they can write off who we're talking about. Of course, in this city, we identify so much with Latinos trying to make sure that they are part of their own community and of our city. Because we began in my own community, this community, which is responsible for the civil rights movement. We began with hatred, even in our own community. But you know you can't have hatred when you look your brother in the face and he tells you he's gay. When you have to face your son, what you'll do, write him out your bill, out of your, sorry, write him out of, you see where I'm at? Write it out of your will that you ain't got anyway. You have to face who you're talking about. You're surrounded by the gay community. The LBG community comes in many colors. Yes, and in many disguises. And when they come out of disguise, you see who they really are. And what a crime it has been that they have been in disguise, even as they have been one of you. Then guilt is followed with acceptance. I do not ever cast aspersion on those who have come to understand who their brothers and sisters are. Your own President of the United States indicated he had to evolve to understand what the history of our country and of our civilization has been. And if you understand that, you will understand how many lives were lost to civilization over the millennia because of suppression of who people worldwide were. In a real sense, even as we celebrate marriage equality, we are still in the consciousness raising stage. I am a former chair of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This is the easiest, the very easiest. Indeed, it has almost 90% of the American people saying, you can do the job, there should be no discrimination against you. So you have to ask yourself, well, why didn't they get to ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, before they got to marriage? I will tell you why. They had to look at two men or two women getting married. And those men or those women and those women were somebody's relatives and somebody's friends. And when enough of them stood up it became impossible to reject them. The reason I mentioned how important it is to say who you are is that you who are in this room are in the very first generation. You are responsible for raising the consciousness of your own community and of the rest of the country. You've already done a magnificent job on raising the consciousness of the community on immigration reform. Wow! All you had to do that was go to the polls. I must tell you, I've never had such joy as I had when they said that Latinos would stay home, yes, and blacks would stay home, and women would stay home, because the recession hadn't brought you to the point where everybody had a job. But we know, and in this room, you made Barack Obama the President of the United States. We understand who came up. We understand why there's an immigration bill in the Congress of the United States, why it's passed the Senate this very day. I sat in a Democratic hearing where our Congressional Progressive Caucus asked family members to testify before us about immigration and what it does when you take families and cast them asunder, and some have to go back and some are here. Because we wanted to see real faces. Because we know what real faces can do. We know what real faces have done for the Latino community, black and white and people of every conceivable description. Yes, we are in various phases, and yes, there's still a lot of hatred. And the hatred comes from where hatred always comes, from ignorance. And we know hatred. And you know, when it's all over, those who have indulged in it try to find ways to make amends. We are, many of us, Christians, and we understand forgiveness. In the same way as we fight for the rights of all of us to be treated in the same ways that any of us have been treated, we have got to understand that when we saw that very painful presentation of how people treated their own family members and their own friends, that they are operating out of long traditions, as deep as the oceans, as wide as the earth, and it is up to us, yes, us, this generation, to bring them to where they need to be. And yes, one of the ways we're doing it is through pain and suffering. One of the ways in which the consciousness of the Latino community nationwide is being raised is in the crimes of bias that attend this community. Yes, you know, they don't know why to come at you. Shall they come at you because you are Hispanic? Or should they come at you because they think you are LBGT? Well, they'll just assume you are both and come at you with both fists, or whatever it is they carry. So yes, there is no progress in this country without suffering. Nobody gives anything to anybody. Ask the third generation Washingtonian who can trace her ancestry back to slaves in the early part of the 19th century. Nobody gives you anything. You earn it. We earned it in the Civil Rights Movement, and we're still earning it. And yes, we are in absolute and total coalition with our Latino brothers who are earning it on their own and in concert with all of us who will never let you walk this earth alone until you are treated the same as each and every American. So this evening, as I make my rounds for a number of occasions, I come this evening because I wanted to be here to celebrate what you have done. It is you who are doing it. I can get on the floor of the House and preach my head off, and it will not mean nearly what it does to have a single courageous Latino man or woman step forward and say, I am, and what are you going to do about it? It is in celebration of those who were in the first line of courage, many of whom are in this room today, that I come forward to thank you for Latino Pride and to encourage you to just build more and more pride, because there's so much pride that you just have to fight off. Thank you so much.